Welcome to Screen Hollywood, the home of movie news and entertainment. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
Welcome back to Screen Hollywood. I'm Adam. If you're new here, join the Hollywood family and hit the like, subscribe, notification bell, and hype button. And bookmark and subscribe to our news site at screenhollywood.com. Now, our subscribers know that on this channel, we don't just follow the script. We look at the data, the industry shifts, and the behind-the-scenes drama to give you the real story. In our last video about Scream 7, I was looking at those initial box office projections and that seemingly desperate $10 million Super Bowl gamble, and I have to say, I stand corrected. It appears that Paramount's massive bet on that 30-second Super Bowl spot has done exactly what they hoped it would do. The original projection for the opening weekend was a slumping, lukewarm $30 million, which would have been a catastrophic drop from Scream 6. But the resurgence of interest since that advert aired has been nothing short of a Hollywood miracle. The buzz is back, the fans are engaged, and the Woodsboro nightmare is officially the hottest topic in horror again. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. Since our last video, there have been massive developments that change everything we thought we knew about the future of this franchise. We're talking about the premature greenlighting of Scream 8, a leaked filming schedule that suggests we're getting a back-to-back horror epic, and a theory about the legendary Stu Macher that will completely redefine the Ghostface legacy. If you thought Scream 7 was just a standard sequel, think again. We are entering uncharted territory. Let's get right into the biggest news of the week. Despite Scream 7 not even being in theaters yet, we have had confirmation that the studio has already effectively greenlit Scream 8. Now, normally, a studio waits to see the opening weekend receipts before they even talk about a follow-up. But something is different this time. This news was essentially confirmed by the Scream Queen herself, Neve Campbell, in a recent interview with People magazine. Neve stated that she is incredibly hopeful for a Scream 8, provided that fans show up and love Scream 7 as much as she does. But here's the kicker. Inside sources are saying the studio is so blown away by the current trajectory and the script that they are already eyeing an early 2027 release date for the 8th installment. For them to be moving this fast confirms what the Screen Hollywood team has been suspecting for months. We have a theory that Scream 7 is not going to end like the traditional Scream movies of the past. Think about every movie in this franchise so far. They always end with a satisfying, neatly tied bow. The killers are revealed, they are killed, Sidney or the new leads walk away, and the story concludes. We believe Scream 7 is going to break that tradition. We are predicting an ambiguous cliffhanger ending. This would be completely new ground for the franchise. It tells me that Scream 7 and Scream 8 are likely two halves of one massive, overarching story. The studio isn't just making a sequel, they are making an event. Now, let's talk about the man everyone is waiting for, Stu Macher. With the 90% confirmation that Matthew Lillard is returning to the role that made him a horror icon, the hype has reached a fever pitch. But there's a big question hanging over this return. How do you bring back a killer who everyone knows is a killer? Stu obviously can't be a surprise reveal at the end of the movie. That would be lazy writing, and the fans would see it coming a mile away. So, what is his role? I have a theory that is both terrifying and brilliant. Stu Macher isn't coming back as a foot soldier. He isn't the guy jumping out of closets. Instead, Stu will be the mastermind, the leader, the messiah behind a Ghostface cult group. Think about it. Stu has been dead or in hiding for 30 years. In that time, the legend of the 1996 Woodsboro murders has grown. We saw in Scream 2022 and Scream 6 that there is a dark obsession with these murders on the internet. I believe Stu has been growing a following in the shadows for decades. Traditionally, Scream killers come in pairs. We saw a trinity of killers in Scream 6, but this time I believe we could be looking at 5, 6, or even a dozen killers. They are all disciples of the original killer, Stu. He has radicalized a new generation of Ghostfaces to finish what he and Billy started. This theory was actually hinted at by Matthew Lillard himself. In a recent interview with Comic Book, Lillard expressed how excited he is to be back, but he admitted he is terrified of ruining Stu's legacy. He stated that Scream 7 is going to be unlike any Scream movie to come before it. He's praying the fans love it, but his tone suggests that they are taking a massive narrative risk. Turning Stu into a cult leader, a Manson-like figure for the digital age, is exactly that kind of risk. If the cult theory is true, it changes the entire structure of the movie. I predict that Scream 7 will feature a whack-a-mole strategy that will completely break Sidney Prescott and Gale Weathers. Imagine this. The movie starts, the kills begin, and Sidney starts hunting Ghostface. About midway through the film, she actually catches one. They are unmasked and killed. In any other Scream movie, that would be the beginning of the end. But in Scream 7, the horror just keeps coming. Sidney kills one Ghostface, only for two more to appear. This would give the characters and the audience the brief, fleeting illusion that the horror is over, just for new villains to emerge from the shadows. It would completely confuse and demoralize Sidney and Gale. They've spent 30 years learning the rules of a slasher movie, but Stu is rewriting the rulebook. This formidable and sinister approach would all be coordinated by Stu from a distance. He's not the one getting his hands bloody, he's the one pulling the strings. He's the general in the bunker. It turns Scream from a whodunit into a survival horror war. This is how you make Ghostface scary again. You make him an ideology, not just a person. You can kill a person, but it's a lot harder to kill an idea. The most exciting part of all of this is the word coming out of the studio regarding Scream 8. Whatever the story for Scream 7 entails, it's clear that the executives are absolutely blown away by the script. But get this, the rumor is that they are even more impressed with the screenplay for Scream 8. The fact that filming for Scream 8 is rumored to commence as soon as later this year tells us everything. You don't rush a production like that unless the two movies are intrinsically linked. If Scream 7 ends in a way that makes audiences beg for a follow-up, it means we are likely looking at a cliffhanger on par with The Empire Strikes Back or Infinity War. We've never seen a Scream movie end without a resolution. We've never seen Sidney Prescott truly lose or be left in a state of total uncertainty. But if Stu and his cult are as formidable as I think they are, Scream 7 might end with the villains on top, setting up a final, epic showdown in Scream 8. The sheer boldness of this plan is what has the industry talking. Paramount and Spyglass are no longer playing it safe. They realized that after the Core 4 drama and the loss of Jenna Ortega, they had to do something massive to win back the fans. Bringing back Neve Campbell was the first step. Bringing back Stu was the second. But creating a multi-film Cult of Ghostface epic? That's the masterstroke that could save the franchise. Let's talk about that filming schedule. If production really does start late in 2025 or early 2026, it confirms that the studio has a long-term vision. This isn't just a cash grab. They are trying to create a definitive conclusion to the Sidney Prescott era. Matthew Lillard's comments about being terrified of ruining the legacy are very telling. Stu Macher is one of the most beloved villains in horror history. If they bring him back and it's just a cheap return, the fans will never forgive them. But Lillard is a smart guy, and Kevin Williamson, the man who invented this world, is back as the director. They know exactly what is at stake. Lillard's excitement, combined with his trepidation, tells me that the role he's playing is substantial. He's not just appearing in a flashback. He's not just a voice on the phone. He is a central pillar of this new narrative. And for Neve Campbell, this is her chance to cement Sidney as the ultimate final girl. By taking the fight to a cult of killers led by her original tormentor, the stakes have never been higher. It brings the whole franchise full circle. It's not just about surviving a masked killer anymore. It's about dismantling a legacy of violence that she accidentally helped create back in 1996. So, what is the final verdict on the state of Scream? I'll be the first to admit that a few months ago I was worried. The marketing was quiet, the projections were low, and the vibe was off. But I stand corrected. The Super Bowl ad was the spark, and the Stu cult theory is the gasoline. It's clear that the next two Scream movies are going to be the boldest, most original installments to date. They are moving away from the rules of the past and creating a new type of horror epic. Whether it works or not remains to be seen, but as a fan of this franchise since day one, I am more excited now than I have been in 20 years. The studio is betting big on the script, the legacy, and the fans. And with the news that Scream 8 is already being prepped for production, it's clear they believe they have a winner on their hands. We are looking at a story that hasn't been concluded, a villain who hasn't been stopped, and a final girl who is about to face her greatest challenge. But I want to hear from you. What do you think of the Ghostface cult theory? Do you think Stu is the one pulling the strings, or is it someone else? How do you feel about Scream 7 ending on a cliffhanger? And are you as hyped as I am to see Matthew Lillard back in the mask, or at least behind the plan? Drop a comment down below and let's get the conversation started. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the future of the Scream franchise, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to Screen Hollywood for more first-person reviews and the truth behind the industry. I'm Adam, and I'll see you in the next one.